welcome to our final episode of the Exhausted Extraordinary podcast with me, Dr. Sharon Grossman. And what I've decided to do for this 40th episode is to take the mindset hacks of all of our guests that have been on this show prior and to condense them and feed them back to you. So over the past year or so, you've heard a number of different experts come in and share all kinds of tips and strategies and resources to help you in every aspect of your life, from your health to your mental health to your business, all kinds of things, relationships and money. So rather than have you go back and maybe listen to all of these individually, which you might have already done, I decided to bring it all home, and this will be our final goodbye. So it's going to be a little bit of a longer episode, but it's got a lot of goodies packed in. So what I've done is really condense these into categories. And what I want to start off with are some mindset tips related to resilience. So here are some of the things that our guests have shared. They talked about how it's important to build a resilient mindset by experiencing discomfort. Now, I know from working with my clients that that's something that people don't like to do. They actually tend to avoid any emotions that are coming up because they're so worried about them being uncomfortable. But what this does, it teaches you how to problem solve, tolerate, and manage your circumstances. And when you do that, not only are you more emotionally healthy, but you can achieve more. Developing a growth mindset is not a one and done. It takes practice plus desire. So ask yourself, what do I really want? And then allow yourself to want more. Another tip is to just be easy on yourself. You are more effective if you stop pushing yourself so hard. You can always learn. It's worth trying new things. And even if something doesn't work out, you can learn from the experience. Then you'll pivot and try something else. And this will help you feel more in control and not worry about failure or what other people think about you, which is what typically holds people back. Also, it's a lot less sexy to fireproof than to fight fire, but that's what you need to do, right? This is what's going to allow you to be truly resilient. Now, what about if you are facing challenges? Well, what our experts are saying is that you need to look at challenges as opportunities. The bigger the challenge, the bigger the growth that's right around the corner. Look for those growth opportunities in your struggle and ask yourself, why is this happening for me? Right? Taking yourself out of that victim mentality. Simplify whatever it is that is in front of you as much as possible. Attempt to tackle it. And if after 6 to 8 weeks it's not working, reconfigure the plan. Try something new. A lot of things are easier than what you might perceive. And finally, change your vocabulary. The words can't, don't, or not able should not be part of your lexicon anymore. Now, if you're somebody that struggles with anxiety or has a lot of negative self-talk, we've got you covered. If you are stuck in a pattern, you want to look at what might be running it subconsciously and find a method to clear it. You think thoughts that serve you, and that is something that is different from thoughts that are true. So look for those thoughts, not necessarily that are true, but you know that when you think them, it really does serve you. Okay, this is different from looking for thoughts that are evidence-based or that are accurate, right? So always come back to, is this really helpful? All of your negative emotions are coming from the meaning that you give events. And meaning is in your mind, not in the event itself. So then you can get rid of the emotion. You can think about the worst case scenario and the best ideal case scenario in a middle range scenario, and then assign a percentage likelihood to each one. And what this does is it helps to ground you in reality. Look at the biological reasons why anxiety is happening for you, and then attend to your physical acceleration. And when you calm down, solutions will present themselves. Ask yourself, how do I want to feel? And then find a thought that leads to this feeling. Ignore the drama that's going on around you. Focus instead on important things, not crazy things. outside of work focus and how to contribute to life, growing spiritually, and accomplishing the task you came in to accomplish. And if you have stress, a great way to reduce that stress is before you respond or react, take 3 breath pauses. The first breath is just breathing. The second breath is where you're paying attention to the fact that you are breathing. And that third breath is where you ask yourself, what is the most important thing right now? And this will push away the clutter in your mind and help you focus on what you need to do in this moment. Now, if you are somebody that struggles with negativity, it's not just about changing the dialogue inside your head and managing those emotions, but also about reviving the relationship with yourself. So here's what you need to know. You are perfect just the way you are. You need to interrupt the internal dialogue and insert a new thought process. This is your assignment. And once you take that on, your life force will come back. Now, if you've got limiting beliefs, one thing that one of our guests mentioned is that you can't put a new belief where there is a belief already. You need to eliminate your negative belief first. So let go of your story about yourself. And if you're in that old story, you'll constantly be in stress and pain. So you want to close that book and make space for the new you to arise like the phoenix out of the ashes. Now, I have some tips specifically for business owners because these are the folks that often burn out. And we'll talk about why as we are looking at these couple of tips, but it really comes down to this aspect of uniqueness and how you see yourself. So there is room for everyone to share their expertise and make an impact. So one side of the coin is basically saying that you are unique. You have something that you can contribute. And no matter how many times it's been done before, you have your separate way of doing it in the world. And so please come out and share your gifts and create that business. At the same time, you're not that unique. So stop thinking you're so unique and it has to be all on you, that you just have to hustle more because nobody can do it the way that you do it. Stop. You're not. There are 1,000 other people who are within 2 miles of where you live who probably do exactly what you do. That's not what makes you unique or interesting or different. You may have been unique when you started the business with your new idea, but then you quickly fell into the habit of wearing all the hats and putting out all the fires and doing all the things that everyone in that position does. Stop. Now, what happens if you experience fear, particularly that fear of failure that so many people have that keeps them from living their fullest life? Well, I've got a bunch of tips around that. Well, one thing for sure is you may have brilliant ideas, but you may not be embracing them because you think that there is some external answer to your problem. Let go of the idea that there is one right answer to the question. What would you do if there was no one right answer to this question? What would you do right now if you had unlimited courage? And also remember that your past performance is good testimony for your future performance. So if you lack confidence, think to your past successes, and that will help inform what you are capable of. Create process goals. And as you work toward attaining them, forget about the outcomes and just have fun with the process. Allow yourself to look at it as an adventure and go with the flow. And when it comes to money, you want to cultivate a loving relationship with your money, which means that not only do you have gratitude for when money comes in, but also when you spend it. When you have gratitude for money going out, you are with the energy of yin and yang, money coming in, money going out, and it has to go both ways. Now, a couple of tips on how to feel better faster. So if you have inflammation in your body, it's because you're not grounded. You are in a state of fight or flight, which is a chronically elevated sympathetic state of cortisol. So by grounding yourself, you can put out the fire and get your energy back. I love all of these references to fire, especially because I am in the field of burnout, and I always think about people as burning out and getting their fire back. So we've got a lot of these kind of metaphors here. Also, you've got to get still. Go outside in nature, sit on the earth, or sit on your front lawn. You got to find some way to turn down the noise. Now, what if you are somebody who has either bad habits that you're trying to change, or you're trying to create some new habits? Well, we've got a couple of tips around that as well. Your habits are malleable. We are able to modify our own behavior. It takes a little bit of time, but it does eventually shift. So try things. You'll be surprised. You need to abstain from addictive triggers. You can't baby step into this or have one foot in each world. So what this means is, if you are trying to not drink because maybe you have a problem with alcohol, we're talking about addictions and things that are behaviors that aren't serving you, then you sometimes just have to go cold turkey. You have to avoid certain things because having them in your environment is just going to be too tempting, and then you're not going to be successful. Now, let's talk about how to be happy at work. And this relates in part to your contribution. So think about your own happiness at work. What do you enjoy most about your job? Invest in your future happiness at work by focusing on the happiness of your team. It will dissolve any conflict which aligns with the things you enjoy least. And also surround yourself with like-minded people. Find something that you can do each day that helps others. When things might seem like too much for you, if you're struggling in any sort of way, one of the things that is really important is to ask for help. So you may see asking for help as a sign of weakness, in which case, what you need to do is just reframe it. Remember, people want to help because they've been helped in the past. And where I want to leave you is how to work more efficiently. Because when you are in a fantastic place, mentally and physically, through all the tips we've shared up until this point, you can show up to work and work smarter, not harder. And so this is ideally where we want you to be, that optimal work engagement where you're really in a state of flow with your work and you're not burning out. Here we go. Well, powerful people realize that they can control, develop, and disrupt anything they put their mind to, but they can't create more time. So ask yourself, what can I do in the time I have to have more impact per minute? What can I do in the time I have to have more impact per minute? That's powerful, guys. You probably feel right now that you have to do so many things. If you were to focus on your maximum contribution and worry less about what people think, about people pleasing, or about losing your job, it becomes easier to focus on high value activities. It's okay to say no when other people ask you to do things, because those things may not be aligned with who you are or your strengths. You may not have time for those things. That commitment to other people's requests actually takes time away from what you need to do for yourself. So saying no helps you better help other people and meet their expectations. Otherwise, you're going to end up disappointing people more. So this is a mindset shift around what it means to say no, which I really love. And finally, stop focusing on what other people are doing. It's so easy for us to compare ourselves to other people and think we're not doing enough, or they're doing so much better than us and we should be further ahead. It's not about that. It's not a competition around yourself versus other people. What it is about comparing yourself to where you were yesterday and then having goals to set you forward and have that momentum drive you towards those goals so that you can be the fullest version of yourself. I want to thank you so much for joining me for the last several months, almost year of being here on this show. And I do hope that this has helped you in some ways go from exhausted to extraordinary. But if you want to work further on areas of your life, I invite you to join me by subscribing to my weekly digest. You can find more information on that on my website at drsharongrossman.com. Just scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there's a place where you can enter in your email, and then you'll start receiving my Friday digest. In that digest, I will send you weekly blog articles and podcast releases from my other show called Decode Your Burnout. So if you're interested in all things burnout and what to do to avoid it or to recover from it, that's the place to be. So again, go to drsharongrossman.com. Again, I want to thank you so much for being with me throughout this journey. It's been fantastic meeting all these amazing experts in a number of different fields. And I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to share their wisdom with you. Take care.
Thanks for checking out the Exhausted to Extraordinary podcast. If you like what we do here, head on over to iTunes to subscribe, like us, and leave us a review. It is very much appreciated. And if you're feeling burned out and want to challenge yourself, take the 7-day Burnout to Your Best Life Bootcamp. Go to 7dayburnoutchallenge.com to join for free.